Welcome to The Explainer. You know when you're using an app or a website and you just think, how in the world does this work? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain and take that very first step. We're diving into the absolute basics of Python. So if you've ever wanted to tell a computer exactly what to do, you've come to the right place.
All right, let's kick things off with a super simple, but really important question. It kind of gets to the heart of what programming is all about. Think about it. When you're building a program, you need it to, well, remember stuff, right? The answer? You use something called a variable.
Okay, don't let the name scare you off. Think of it like a labeled box. You give the box a name, you put something inside it, and later on you can just ask for the box by its name to get what's inside. It's your way of telling the computer, hey, hang on to this for me, I'm going to need it later. And making one is super easy. Seriously. You just pick a name for your box, use an equal sign, and then give it the value you want it to hold. So right here, we've made a variable called name, and we've told it to remember the text, bro. All right, here's the game plan for today. We're going to cover what a variable is, look at the different kinds of information we can store, then get into the fun stuff, getting user input. We'll even tackle a super common pitfall that trips up almost everyone at first. And the best part? By the end of this, you will have built your very first interactive program. So a computer is powerful, but it's not psychic. It needs to know what kind of information it's holding. Is it text? Is it a number? Something else? These different kinds of info are called data types. And this is a huge deal because the data type tells Python what you can do with the information. I mean, you can do math with numbers, but you can't really do math with text, right? It just wouldn't make sense. So let's meet the four big ones. First up, we've got the string. And that's just a fancy name for any kind of text. You know, a string of characters. To make one, you just wrap your text in either single or double quotes. That's it. Simple as that. Next up is the integer. An integer is just a whole number. You know, no decimals, no fractions. If you're counting something or doing basic math, you're probably going to be using an integer. Now, what if your number does have a decimal point? Well, then it's called a float. Think of it for anything that needs more precision. Stuff like measurements or money or scientific data. And last but not least, we have the Boolean. This one sounds weird, but it's actually the simplest of all. A Boolean can only be one of two things, true or false. That's it, but don't let that fool you. These little true/false values are the absolute backbone of decision-making in your code. They are incredibly powerful. Okay, this is where it gets really fun. Let's make our program actually do something interactive. I mean, a program that just runs on its own is cool, I guess, but a program that can actually talk to a user and react to them, that's a whole other level. To do this, we use a built-in tool that Python gives us called the input function. What it does is simple. It prints a question that you write out to the screen, and then it just waits. It pauses the whole program until the user types something and hits that enter key. So here, we're asking, how old are you? Whatever the user types in gets captured and tucked away neatly into our age variable. But there's a catch, and trust me, this is a huge one that gets almost every single beginner. Here's the thing you have to burn into your memory. The input function always gives you a string. I'm going to say that again. Always. Even if the user types in the number 21, Python doesn't see the number 21. It sees the text character 2, followed by the text character 1. It's like they wrote it on a piece of paper instead of punching it into a calculator. And this one little fact is the source of like the most common beginner error ever. So you look at this code and your brain says, yeah, this makes total sense. Ask for their age, then add 1 to it. But remember what Python sees. It sees text. And you just can't do math with text. It's like trying to tell the computer to calculate apple plus 1. It has no idea what to do. It just doesn't compute. And when you try to run this, your program is going to crash and you'll get this big, scary-looking thing called a type error. But don't panic. This is just Python's way of throwing its hands up and saying, whoa, I can't add a number to a piece of text. What are you trying to do? So what's the fix? It's actually pretty straightforward. We have to explicitly tell Python to change the data type. It's a process called typecasting. Think of it like a translator. We're telling Python, hey, I know this looks like text, but I need you to translate it into a number for me. And we can go back and forth, turn a string into an integer or an integer back into a string. All we have to do is wrap our age variable inside of int, just like that. That one little change tells Python to take the string 21 that it got from the user and convert it into the actual number 21. And now we can do math with it. Boom, problem solved.
Okay, time to put it all together. We've learned about variables, data types, getting user input, and even how to fix that tricky typecasting problem. Let's combine all of that and build a complete, genuinely useful program from scratch.
All right, here's the step-by-step logic. First, we'll ask for their name. Then, their age. Now, here's the key part. We immediately convert that age to an integer so we can add 1 to it. But then, and this is clever, we have to convert the new age back into a string so we can join it with our text message at the end. Finally, we'll print the whole thing out.
And here's what the final code looks like. It's actually pretty amazing how much is happening in just a few lines. See that? We ask for the name and store it. Then in one single line, we ask for the age and we convert it to an integer using int function. Super efficient. Then we do our simple math, and for the final printout, we have to convert the age back to a string with string function so we can mash it all together into one nice sentence.
And check out what happens when you run it. You get a totally personalized, dynamic result. This program isn't static. It's alive. It changes its output based on what the user types in. And just like that, you've officially created your first truly interactive program. How cool is that? So let's just step back for a second. What's the big takeaway here? In just the last few minutes, you've learned the absolute core building blocks of programming: storing information, talking to the user, and even doing basic calculations. Seriously, these concepts are the foundation for, well, for pretty much everything else you're ever going to build in code. Look, this is just the very beginning. You now have the basic tools to make a computer listen to you and talk back. The power to create, to solve problems, to build whatever you can imagine. It really is in your hands now. So the only question left is, what are you going to build next?